Hi everyone. God, I haven't done a video for so long. I think I've been just quietly sitting really and contemplating. It feels like that seems to have been pretty much most of my life in the last year or so, apart from working. And I think that contemplation and solitude has sort of led me into trying to understand, or not even trying to understand, because logically we always want to understand something through our mind, but trying to get to grips with the overload of information that is out there on a daily basis. So unless you completely detach yourself from any social media and continued input from people outside of you, in reality, or what, if you have that type of connections in your life, you kind of get confuddled by information overload. Well, that's what I like to call it. It is where there is just so much information that you struggle to connect into your intuition and into your inner knowing. And I want to make that clear, it's your inner knowing, because your intuition leads you to your truth. Your intuition don't lead you to other people's truth, and vice versa. And so when we're sort of always engaging on social media, or we're always having conversations with others, it's okay to be contemplating. I'm not saying that any of this is wrong, by the way. I just want to make that clear. But when we are continually having this overload of information, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat, types of rituals, spirituality, and it just becomes a real overwhelm. Well, it does for me. And that is when I disengage. I turn social media off, and I try and disconnect and try and connect into myself, because otherwise I start losing myself, which is one of the reasons why I like Gene Keys, because it doesn't really have a set idea with how you're supposed to use it, read it, do it. You can just flow with it and on how you are guided to. And to me, that is like super important, without having too much control or practice through what you should and shouldn't be doing. And I'm kind of a rebellious nature, and the more I hear we should be doing this, we should be doing that, we shouldn't be doing it, the more I want to do the opposite. So that kind of information isn't very good for me at all. I like guidance when I'm close and I connect with someone that I really, really trust and respect, and not look up to, but just have that real deep connection with. Then I'm open to listening to their views or their input. But if I'm constantly seeing information that's being told that I should and shouldn't do this, then I kind of want to rebel, and then I don't get what I need to from the information. I don't know if any of this is making sense. But what I'm basically trying to say is that overload of information stops us connecting into our intuition and to our inner self. The only way that we can do that is by disconnecting, because we're just listening to everybody else's truth, right? Because whatever anyone posts, that's their truth. So we can listen to it, or we can watch the video, or we can listen to an audio book or read a book, and we can get their truth. And then from that, we might be able to connect into our intuition, might be able to connect into our soul self, and we might be able to feel what that information is meant for us. Because obviously everything we engage with, we're engaging for a reason, and that is the purpose, to be able to receive something from it. But when we start taking things gospel, or we can start getting confused by all the information out there. So I'm, from previous videos from years ago, you'll know that I was very passionate in wanting to reveal truth, to stand up, and I was very passionate in that world, if you like. I don't know what to call it. I've lost the word. And And I am still very much, you know, very passionate about standing up for my truth, my child's future. But I do it more in my own way. And I feel like there's a lot of stuff out there that's causing divide between people, just humanity in general, and everyone's sort of, you know, not everyone, but we kind of jump on that, and then we allow the divide to happen. But also, you know, we are taking other people's truths and information, and you know, like, so some person might say, right, you need to stop eating this, or you need to drink this. This is causing sickness. Now, I'm not a believer at all in any way, shape or form that food causes disease, okay? Because, you know, I study German new medicine, that is my thing, and you know, I don't feel that food causes that problem. I do believe, obviously, if we're filling our bodies with poison, then there will be some sort of negative effect, especially within our energetic field. And obviously, a lot of food energetically will resonate with us and make us feel good, and a lot of food won't. But I don't believe it causes disease. But my point is that we can come across these posts that you shouldn't be eating this, that you should be eating that, you should be vegan, you should be eating meat, you should be doing this. And it's just consistent information overload. And it goes the same with everything, right? It goes the same with rituals, spiritual practice, full moons, lunar eclipses, you know, the list goes on. And it's a continuous bowl or soup of information that we then need to decipher down and understand whether it's our truth. So when we're scrolling and we're going through you know, our feeds, and we're seeing all different things, and then it starts jumbling down in our mind, and we're not able to, and I'm not saying we're all like this, but I'm not able to then start deciphering what information is meant to be coming from me, and then I start using it as a distraction tool. So yeah, so I feel like social media is great, and it has its positives, and it also obviously has its negatives. But the new age spiritual world is, you know, there can be so much seriousness around it, and there can be, you know, so much overload of information, but so much like, you know, if you don't do this, and you're not this person, and if you know, you're not spiritual enough if you don't do this, and really, I just want to live my life. Like, I want to live my life, and I want to be happy. I want to enjoy foods that I like, and I want to be able to enjoy it without worrying about that I'm not spiritual enough, or I'm not healthy enough, or whatever. I want to be able to do things, watch things, you know, do things that I want to do for me, my child, my family, that might interest us, without having to be, right, oh, I need to go out into nature, oh, I need to go and do this because it's more spiritual. And this is what led me, like, this is what I was like on the path about, I don't know now, 4 or 5 years ago. And when I first sort of had my awakening, if you like, I'm going to say that very loosely, but I went crazy. I was like, clean eating, can't eat this, don't eat that, don't have this, don't have that. And I actually made myself ill from it. I made myself even more ill from it, even though that's not how I feel now, thankfully, from discovering German new medicine and this amazing, amazing discovery by Dr. Hammer. I was able to put them fears to one side, but then another whole load of fears come in. So we think fear comes from outside in the mainstream, the news, the governments, they're trying to drive fear. But there is like a flip side of that. There's so much fear being pressed, and it can be like really under the radar, and people might not even realise that they're doing it. I might even be one of them people. I don't know. But there is so much out there that's stopping us from just being, right? Just surrendering, just trusting, and just being, because we think, oh, maybe I don't know this enough, I don't know that enough, I'm not knowledgeable enough with that, I'm not doing enough spiritual practice, I don't do rituals, I don't have time to do this. And then it makes you feel that you're not like a whole person, and you are whole. You are whole just as you are. You are the most beautiful being, how you are and how you're led, and how you're divinely guided by your inner knowing. That is you, right? And all these interruptions and distractions and overload of information. Now, again, I just want to emphasize, I'm not saying I don't listen to any information. I have really deep, I have a real connection with people that I listen to their information. I might come across someone's video and I want to put that information out there because it's resonated with me. But what I'm saying is there's just too much, and it's not the person's fault. It's sometimes us, because we can't limit our information that comes into us on a daily basis. So I don't know what the message is, but I really felt like I needed to share this. I really felt like I really needed to share and say, like, we are here in this life to enjoy it, right? What is the point of living this life if we are not enjoying it and being happy, right? What is the point of that? There is no point, it just becomes a miserable life, when we're restricting ourselves from just being because we're worried about that, that might be too toxic, or we can't do this because of that, or we can't go here, or maybe that we're sitting there thinking, like, trying to really meditate and I can't do this, I'm not good enough, I'm not able to switch my mind off. Well, some people can't, right? Some people, that's not their thing. Some people like to sing, some people like to dance, some people like to do different kinds of practices. Some people don't like to do any of it at all. Some people don't even realise that they're in contemplation half the day, right? Because they've never heard of it. So it's really about tuning out and then tuning in, right? So once we've tuned, once we've tuned out, right, we can then start tuning in. And there needs to be more time in the day where we have that pause, that stop, that digest, and that moment to just think, what is it that I want to do? What makes me feel good? Not what makes everyone else feel good, not what's going to make me look good, but what makes me feel good, right? That's what we need to ask ourselves. That's where we need to just tune in that little bit more and really understand, our soul self, right? The spirit that lives inside us, the one that knows the answers, the one that knows where to guide us. Where is that person, and what is it? Not even that person. Where is that being, and how can we move that person out of us? How can we let them guide us? Because there is too much information out there, and it's clouding people's inner knowings and judgments. It's certainly clouding mine, which is why I've been very absent on social media for a while, for quite a long time actually, apart from a few posts here and there, is because I've just been trying to get to grips with that part of me, without listening to all the distractions, trying to sort of relearn and reparent myself so I can, feel whole and happy and be able to live like a joyful life. Because all I want to do, look, we're not going to be happy all the time, right? We're going to have days when it feels like shit. But ultimately, we're not here to be feeling that way. We're here to be really living our best life. And our best life could just be chilling. It could just be sitting around. It could be anything, but only we know the answer to that. So my message is really just try and tune out and tune in. Tune out of the outside world and what everyone's doing and saying, and and try and tune in and find what your answer is and what your guidance is and what your intuition is telling you, and let that be the guide for you embodying and creating abundance in your life, because that's the only way you're going to do it. And it's not going to come from outside of you. It's not going to be coming from any other aspects of outside. It's all from within. Have a lovely day.